The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. So this is Toni Morrison's debut novel. We primarily follow a young black girl named Pecola Breedlove, as well as her two parents, as well as some of the other young black girls in town who Pecola ends up staying with for a little bit. And we watch as life unfolds for these young girls in Lorain, Ohio, which is a predominantly white community that Toni Morrison herself grew up in. As I mentioned, Pecola Breedlove is a young black girl, and she constantly finds herself really envious of the white girls in her town who are appraised as being lovely and beautiful just by virtue of their white appearance. She finds herself jealous of white baby dolls, destroying them out of jealousy and envy. And as she's coming of age, this sort of self-hatred and this perception of herself as ugly just by virtue of her blackness drives her to wish for white features, primarily blue eyes. Now, this book is largely based on Toni Morrison's own experiences as a child, growing up around people who are perceiving their own blackness as ugliness, and what that means for her, and what that means for beauty in general. And so a large theme of the book is internalized racism and self-hatred about one's appearance, and the way that beauty as a notion was bastardized to mean whiteness and purity. And of course, beyond that, there is the interplay of sex and gender. It's really an interrogation of when the disease of self-hatred takes root in a person. Now, obviously, this book has a lot more going on than I can really fit into a little 3-minute synopsis, but it should go without saying that this book is brilliant. This is a debut novel that only someone like Toni Morrison could have pulled off. Toni Morrison, more so than any author maybe ever, really encapsulates literature as an art. She shows you what literature has the potential to do. And to that end, this book is definitely challenging. Not just in that the structure is kind of all over the place. It does take a minute to readjust each time we begin a new chapter to what's going on and whose perspective we're following. But the real challenges of this book come in the themes. It deals with some really heavy and dark topics, especially as the book goes on. I will say this is probably my least favorite of the Toni Morrison books that I've read so far. As it is still her debut novel, I feel that maybe she doesn't quite have the same command of figurative language that she does in some of her other books. There's a lot of really great, almost like preternatural, metaphorical events in some of her other stories that this one is kind of lacking. If you've never read anything by Toni Morrison, I might recommend checking out Beloved or Song of Solomon first, but regardless, you definitely need to read this at some point. If you are at all interested in literature beyond just entertainment, if you want to experience something that challenges you and asks big questions that you don't have the answers to, then you don't need me to tell you that you should read The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I don't think I'm going to give it a number rating. It feels a little bit above that. So this is just me letting you know that you should read it.